All right. Good morning, good evening, good night. This is going to be an amazing episode. We've got NFT Live. We're bringing you the latest from around the crypto industry, around the NFT industry. I got my man Ronan here today. Buffalo is not in the house, so I'm going to be handling the sticks behind the scenes. Shout out to my man Crypto Buffalo. Shout out to everybody in the NFT space right now, man. It's blowing up. Can't wait to bring you the news this week. What's going on, my man?
Not much, man. I apologize to everybody for like the darkness, but my camera's having some issues. Look, we've got all this stuff going on. It's a lot to like process on a daily basis, and then my camera's messing up. So beyond like that, though, it's excellent, dude. It's been an excellent week. I think obviously, as everybody can see, we are doing a sponsored episode for Street Fighter today. We've got some excellent news. We've got the breakdown coming about how those packs are going to be released tomorrow. We have a sales day coming to you guys. We're going to break down the way the packs work, the way the minting works, how you can power up your cards and get through the whole experience that is going to be Street Fighter on wax. So thanks to everybody who is here and who is hanging out with us today. I appreciate you guys in chat.
Let's talk about this because Nunbreaker is saying, why am I here? Why are you here? I don't know. We're bringing up the latest in the NFT industry. We got that wax sale. We've got a ton of different news we're going to get to. But Ronan, why should somebody be here on NFT Live listening to us two right now?
That's an excellent question. I think that the answer to that is pretty simple, man, because we're going to bring you all the news going on in NFT right now that's happening, this week, like up to the minute. We keep our eyes on Twitter. We've got notifications set. If something breaks, like typically, we're going to let you know that right on from the top. So this is an excellent show if you are kind of getting into crypto and NFTs and you're trying to kind of learn like how this world works and what's going on and what projects you should be paying attention to. And I think that beyond that, like we bring excellent engagement. Q and I have pretty good banter, and we also bring some excellent content in way of interviews and kind of behind the scenes access to a lot of these projects that are going on in the NFT space right now.
Dude, absolutely great breakdown there. We have a lot of comments. You guys are lighting up the comments today. So I'm going to go back right to the beginning. It looks like Savage Flint was first. Easy's there. Extra Tudos is there. Shout out to Extra Tudos. They won, or he or she won the giveaway with Wows. The Wows sale was amazing. Shout out to that team. But really today is all about Street Fighter. We've got a lot of news to get to. We're going to touch on Street Fighter about in the middle of the episode, and then we're going to have a sale day tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow for the sale day episode, Ronan? I know it's starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard.
So exactly, yeah, we're starting tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. We are going to be doing a sales day. If you guys have ever been here for sales day, they're super hype, they're super fun. We start a little bit early before the drop happens. The drop will take place, and hopefully, we get all through the next 30 minutes together at that point, because sometimes the experience can be a little clunky, but we do have the opportunity to work through that as a team, right? And part of the process tomorrow is, I believe, we're actually going to have a representative from the Street Fighter team on the show. So we'll have a chat with them kind of as this thing is being released and kind of get that real-time reaction from someone on the team. So it's going to be an excellent conversation. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Again, that's tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, Ronan.
And everybody talking about my situation in chat. Look, life is rough sometimes. Okay, life comes at you fast, yeah. So I'm doing what I can, guys. I promise next week I'm gonna have my camera set up back. Don't make that face. And I asked you right before the show. I said, how much is it gonna cost me to get a green screen? So we're working on it. I appreciate everyone's concerns, and no, I'm not all of a sudden in protected custody of the FBI or anything.
Interesting. Okay, so Ronan is somewhere in the USA bringing you the latest on the NFT industry in his. And people don't know this. You're an OG if you actually know that Spider-Man shirt, I believe, was the first shirt that Ronan ever wore on a sale day. So we are going to get to this episode. I don't know if we had B20 on the list, but we got guys talking about B20 there in the chat. B20 is amazing. They ran what I forgot what they called it. It was like Metapalooza that was in like 3 metaverses at one time. They're fractionalizing Beeple artwork. We're gonna get to Beeple later in the show. Maybe we could pop in some B20 news if Ronan could break break that down. But for the most part, we're going to stay on schedule. And what does that schedule look like? We're going to break down the latest in lads for a second. We're going to touch on Lindsay Lohan for like a millisecond and touched on how I'm a complete simp for actually buying that on Layer 1 Live. Thank you, XPlow, for doing that. But here's the rundown for today. We've got RAC, we've got Blau, we've got more wax news, we've got TopShot in flow, Beeple auction at Christie's, Animoca releasing their latest cryptocurrency play to earn mechanics inside of their mobile games, and then we've got Fewocious, who is absolutely killing it on Nifty Gateway, and then we're going to touch on Street Fighter and Wax. That was an amazing. We got a giveaway running for that as well. So a lot of crazy stuff going on today, man. The NFT industry is absolutely blowing up. I want to give a shout out to you too, man, because you're absolutely killing it on Clubhouse. I don't know if people know what's actually going on, but there is a movement on Clubhouse happening right now, man.
Dude, it's a special like space. I think that somebody who I'm a huge fan of, Gary Vee, talks a lot about like undervalued attention, and I think that like when it comes to social media right now, like Clubhouse is extremely undervalued as far as the attention is concerned. I think that it's a natural place to have a conversation with like-minded people, and through that you kind of build like this organic following that takes part in this conversation of NFTs on a daily basis. And some of these rooms, they last for hours. They're getting all types of attention. I was telling Q this morning, I was like, bro, I had a conversation last night with MC Hammer about NFTs, which blows my mind. And so, I mean, last night I had the pleasure, and thank you to everybody who was in that room, who moderated, who came and hung out in the audience. We had 2,000 people at one point. It was crazy. But I was having a conversation with my boy Blau, and Pomp was up there, right? Like the fact that like Pomp is following me on Clubhouse blows my mind. MC Hammer threw me a follow. Freaking Hannibal Burris was in the audience. I didn't even realize it, and all of a sudden I get this alert that like he's following.
This is Ronan's life right now. This is Ronan's life.
That's me, dude. It's so crazy. And yeah, so it was an excellent conversation. And that ability to kind of connect with people on that level at any given moment is why I think I've been so engaged with the community, right? Because it's opened up some real cool opportunity to have these conversations and befriend some really big movers and shakers. We're talking Blau later on. He's doing some big stuff, and never in a million years would I think that I'd be able to just ping someone like that and be like, hey, yo, I want to ask you a question, or hey, let's have a chat on Clubhouse, and him like be down and want to partake in that conversation. So to see like so many people coming into the space and like having this conversation on a daily basis, and with names like MC fucking Hammer, right? Like who are coming in and wanting to be a part of what we're doing on a regular basis, is dope as fuck, man. It really is. And sorry for the language, but like it's really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff coming, and there's a lot of attention, and that's exactly what that room was about. Was like, we've got so much attention on this space right now. How do we not F it up, right? Like, how do we not totally screw up the ability to bring this technology to the masses? So that's definitely a conversation that we had, and it lasted forever. I don't know, that room might still be running.
Yeah.
And over 14 hours. So it's pretty amazing what's going on there and in that space, and I'm really thankful to like be able to have grown a really cool like little community there. And I think the lads really need to jump in. If any of the lads are interested, hit me up in DM on Discord. I'll shoot you an invite and get you guys through the gates.
Awesome, man. Great breakdown there of what we're doing within Clubhouse. I appreciate you bringing me up to that mod status, Ronan. You're a G for that. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to touch on some lads events. We have the sale day tomorrow. We're going to be announcing some things in our Discord that kind of go around kind of like banding together here as lads as we spend money on NFTs and do these different things. If we can kind of get organized together as lads and then kind of approach these different projects, we can actually use that leverage to be able to receive more things as far as NFTs and all these different things. So one thing we're trying to do is get the lads together so we can actually track addresses. We're not looking at your transaction history or anything like that. What we're trying to do is say, hey, look, lads are spending X amount in these sales. Let's actually work with you to distribute some of your NFTs, maybe some of these things, and it goes back into the ecosystem, back into the community. So expect some of those updates. I know Fishy and Llama themselves are working on ways that we can tie in specifically the Wax blockchain, but we want to do this on Flow. We want to do this on ERC20, so Ethereum. That's what we're trying to do here. So expect some updates over the coming, I guess 24 hours. We want to run this first kind of alpha here with kind of tracking these habits here in the Street Fighter sale, because we know people are super interested in that. So without further ado, before I get to this last piece here, we got some B20 comments. Look at this rise, 100% over the past 24 hours. B20 is actually killing it. So this DeFi movement that's moving into NFTs right now, where if you guys aren't familiar, B20 is just fractionalizing Beeple's auctions, that huge $1 million, I believe, million plus auction that he held. You basically can own a percentage, and there's different utilities that go along with this, but absolutely crazy that B20 is just taking off 1,000%, up 10x there in the last 7 days. So really just wanted to give a shout out to the guys in chat talking about B20, and it looks like people are taking notice of what's going on with the fractionalization of NFTs.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like the ability to do things like this in the space is really game changing, and I think that that shows if somebody really starts to think outside of the box and they really take some time to look at the space and look at the technology and see how it applies to them in a project that they would like to bring to the space. You can do a lot of really cool stuff, right? So I definitely think that this is a perfect example of leveraging that ability and that technology to kind of give us a new experience with what we're already working with on a daily basis. So yeah, it's excellent project.
Definitely. And I think we're going to continue to move on into the episode. You guys definitely want to hit the news from the week. Keep the comments coming. It looks like Gavin's asking if Street Fighter can run out of packs in a 24-hour window. We'll touch on everything as far as Street Fighter is concerned in about 20 minutes after we make it past the crazy news that's been happening in the NFT industry. It's just absolutely been blowing up. Definitely a lot of comments. Maybe I can't even say live. And then Scott Harris is saying, can we lads get a Clubhouse invite? Absolutely, my man. I know Ronan's got a couple. I've got about the same. I think maybe 4 or 5 to give out to the lads. So if you guys want to ping us in Lad City in our community Discord, definitely we'll get you those guys. Otherwise, let's get started, man. We got 72 of you guys in the house. All-time high is going to be 125. If we hit 126, you're going to earn some social token today. That is lads. We don't have the Buffmeister here to break down the lads utility token, but basically we are a tokenized content network. You do have ownership of this content network and in the direction it's taking in the future. Can't wait to bring you more. Otherwise, sale day tomorrow, game night on Friday, Layer 1 live on Friday, and then Ronan's doing some interesting stuff on Clubhouse on Sunday, but we're going to leave that. We're going to leave that for another day. All right, Ronan. The last piece before we hop into our first piece of news, which is the RAC tape, most expensive cassette tape ever. What do you think about this, my man?
Man, I think that this is just a really, oh God, Jesus, dude, really? Do we have to look at the fact that you own this piece of is it history?
It's absolutely history. Look, if she wasn't holding the gold Ethereum logo, I don't think I would. Can you imagine? I want it. You guys can't see my room right now, but I just want it hanging up on the wall. Lindsay Lohan, an absolute starlet back in 2000s. Come on, man. You know. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Nothing to say. He's absolutely speechless.
Thank you guys so much for joining NFT Live today and for watching the show. We appreciate you being here. Don't forget, you're definitely going to want to like and you're going to subscribe because you love the content that we're providing to you right now. And with that, we appreciate you guys very much. We're going to jump straight into our hot topics. So RAC, the tape that he had, which was he actually tied this into a social token. And you were able to redeem his social token to get this physical tape. He has broken the world record for the most expensive cassette tape ever ever in history, right? And in doing so, he has eclipsed the pre-Linkin Park demo as well as the Prince cassette tape that previously held that record. And I thought that this turned into like the funniest little like Twitter thread, right? Because then he tweets out, he tags Mike Shinoda, and Mike Shinoda's like, basically like what did he say? What was his first response? I can't remember. It basically is like, I shall avenge myself, and basically like they had this nice little exchange. I think RAC even admitted to pirating
Yep.
the first
Hybrid
Linkin Park,
theory.
the Link Hybrid Theory, the first Linkin Park album.
Mm.
To which Mike Shinoda said that yeah, he would have to avenge that wrongdoing. So I think this is excellent. It's so cool to see people that and especially Mike Shinoda, somebody who I'm a huge Linkin Park fan. Anyone who doesn't know me, or who knows me rather, knows that I spent a lot of time going to shows when I was younger. I think they're like my second most seen band live.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them 7 times live. So to see like people like this jumping into the space and having this conversation is mind blowing. And it was cool. It was very cool. So that is the RAC is now the holder of the most expensive cassette tape ever.
Absolutely, and I've got it pulled up here. So Shinoda, obviously from Linkin Park, he's saying, "How dare you?" RAC saying, "Mike, I'm sure I never told you, but I pirated Hybrid Theory in 2001. Who didn't pirate Hybrid Theory in 2001?" RAC, you are not alone there.
I did not. I bought it.
Oof, Ronan.
I bought it like 5 times. Okay.
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 All right. Well, I'm going to transition us into this Blau. While I'm doing that, we've got a lot of comments. Do you want to hit on any of these comments while I transition us here?
Absolutely. So again, thank you guys for being here and hanging out and chilling with us live. It really brings a lot of different energy to this show and this podcast. So so as Modi says, when Clubhouse Discord bridge, yeah, at some point, like I could imagine something along those lines taking place. The NFT Army is in the house. Big shout out to the Army. We appreciate your guys' support every single week in and out, especially on social media. Man, it's very much appreciated. Buff, thank you so much for hanging out, dude. We appreciate you being here, dude. Sorry you can't be part of the show today. We look forward to having you back hopefully next week. And yeah, I think there's a ton of lads in chat, and we appreciate you guys very, very much for partaking in this conversation.
Absolutely. I think Masked Mage is saying Q Master is Lohan going to be in the lads vault. That is an interesting play as well. We could discuss that. I know we've been trying to do a lot more things with the vault. We can, the NFTs picking up only kind of, I guess, catalyzes what we should be doing with the vault. So we can definitely, work on the vault this week, work on the vault this month and this quarter, and make sure that we continue to highlight what we've got going on. Because I know we did another piece there as well where we added the Bitcoin Origins latest drop to the vault. So without further ado, let's get into this Blau news really quick. Blau's doing a lot of different things. He's an amazing guy. Ronan was saying before the episode that Blau is just almost makes you feel like you don't know anything because he's such a smart guy. But we have in 8 days an auction starting here for his vinyl collection. So this piece is album is 3 years old. Okay, so I kind of want to take you guys through the actual process here. He says, for the first time in history, a collection of NFTs representing a best-selling album is being auctioned. Blau has broken 1 billion online streams and is releasing a once-in-a-lifetime NFT to commemorate the 3-year release of the album Ultraviolet. Only 33 of these NFTs will ever be minted, and there's a physi-digital piece. I always mess that up for some reason. Aspect to this. You see the platinum vinyls, you see the gold and silver. There's also going to be commemorative NFTs made in like a POAP type of a vibe. So really cool story here, but Blau is consistently, I love seeing Blau, I love seeing RAC. They are really the leaders from an artist perspective, musical artist perspective, in what is happening with NFTs. So awesome stuff there. What do you got?
I would like to just add the fact that what he's doing is super cool. A little bit about the technology behind this is essentially what he's done is he's worked with a team, and what they did was they created a Shopify plugin that allows you to use the Shopify platform on your website to basically purchase NFTs. So this experience isn't just about the fact that he's got a really dope NFT drop. It's about the fact that he's actually also at the same time rolling out some technology that I think a lot of people in the space space have been hoping for, right? Like the ability to just build straight into your website a checkout process for NFTs. So they're doing a lot of really cool stuff there. He did say that as far as how that works would eventually kind of be shared in some way, fashion. So I definitely think that, you know, if you are a creator, you're going to want to keep an eye on this project, because what Blau's doing, man, is he's thinking 5 steps ahead of everybody else.
Absolutely. You see Deadmau5 moving in. You see RAC. Audius is doing great things for musical artists there as far as NFTs are concerned. I love the tokenized access portion of this, right? You see a lot of these different things, unreleased music that you can unlock by having this NFT. You look, a custom mix created by Blau with creative direction from the winners. This is the type of access that kind of breaks down the barrier between the artist and the actual content consumers or fans. You don't have that middle kind of that middle situation there where someone is kind of getting in the way. You actually have interaction by the artist into the creator, so or the content consumer. So really cool stuff. You know, that can happen with social tokens too. We've been talking about DeFi, B20, and things like that, but there's a social token aspect to this. You will see artists start to not only release NFTs, but to consistently reward their content consumers, their fans, with social tokens that allows for this type of access.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool.
Rolling on to the next hot topic for today, we are just going to touch on this one real quick. It is the announcement of NFT Graffiti Kings on Wax. So this is a project that I actually came across just kind of randomly through being on Twitter, and I don't honestly know like a whole lot of information outside of the fact that they seem to be kind of approaching it from a different angle, in that they're highlighting graffiti art. And you can see there in the preview, it seems like they're doing some really kind of cool stuff with like AR on top of graffiti. Now, whether or not, you know, we're looking at the option of getting an NFT that has AR in it that you can go and like see, or if whether we're just looking at a situation in which they've created this really cool pieces of art by capturing, you know, a photo of graffiti and then layering some really cool stuff on top. Either way, it's definitely a project I think is something you're going to want to check out. Keep an eye on it as far as Wax is concerned. I said it not too long ago, I think like a month or two ago, man. Like I'd love to see someone doing some really cool graffiti art in this space, because I think you can do a lot of really cool stuff with that. So yeah, that is NFT Graffiti Kings on Wax.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I don't know if I could talk more about Flow and what they're doing with Dapper Labs and TopShot, but we're going to try here. So I've got Roham, who is the founder over at Dapper Labs. He's doing amazing things. We had an interview with him, I believe, a week ago, so we actually released that last Thursday. Go check that out. It's on our channel as well. But we've got him kind of quoting what's going on here. And this is a story on ESPN by Darren Ravel. To say those words together, where you're talking about a DApp, a decentralized application, a decentralized network, and it's being highlighted on ESPN, absolutely amazing stuff. Look, ESPN Plus right here. I'm not going to buy your ESPN exclusive content there, but I can take you through kind of what's going on here. It's basically Roham breaking down why NBA Top Shot has been so successful. And the reason they've been successful is because they have credit card purchases, is because they make this seamless experience. They have a lot of utility that's kind of built in, but for the most part, it's a seamless way to own digital items. It's as simple as that. You can break it down farther if you'd like, but they've just done a really good job of capturing this movement of NFTs within collectible cards. There's a bunch of different reasons why you could say, hey, sports collectibles and NFTs are a great fit, but he does a great job of breaking that down for us here. You got anything as far as this story is concerned?
Yeah, I just think that obviously, like, we're huge like fans of Flow and everything they're doing, especially with Top Shot. I'm super excited to see what they do with the Dr. Seuss IP that's coming this year, as well as hopefully UFC by the end of the year. I think the plan was to have both of those in 2021. So where they're going, obviously, is big places. I think Flow naturally, to me, feels like the best home for digital collectibles outside of art. So, and I think that it's really interesting, right? Like that the next little bit of the story is the fact that someone like Gary Vee, who's a huge proponent of flip culture and, collectibles having this inherent value over time, that he's actually now having that conversation
Yep.
in regards to NFTs. And just last night he was tweeting out that, he was he's out there trying to trade a physical box of collectibles for NFTs, right? So, and he mentioned, I think do you have that clip? Do you want to share that clip? He
Yep.
even
Sharing it
mentions
right
that
now.
like he's literally watching perfect. He's watching TopShot on a daily basis. So when you see people like that who are movers and shakers and who typically have their pulse on what's coming next, and you see them talking about something that you've been in for 6 months, it's extremely exciting for us to see that. And I'm trying my damnedest to get his attention. I was lucky enough to get a super plastic a red cranky yesterday, which I was so hyped about. That's actually the first Nifty that I have successfully been able to purchase. And I was prepared, dude. And I actually was in the launch party on Clubhouse, and I was the only person in everyone who was on stage who actually snagged one live. Everybody was trying, and I was the only one who got one. So yeah, I was trying to swap it for some time with Gary. So I don't know, maybe you guys see Gary next week if we're lucky.
Awesome. While I pull up this next piece of link here, that has Gary V talking to Mike Novogratz. Now I don't have the volume here. We don't have the Buffmeister who can play video and audio through some sort of magic through vMix. I don't have the actual audio here, but while I'm playing this, you can see Gary V's kind of like here, and I'll kind of paraphrase what he's saying. But Ronan, before that, kind of go through some of the comments that we might have. I know we haven't hit chat in a while. There's about 80 people in the house, so definitely hit some comments that you see, and then I'll kind of paraphrase what's going on here.
Yeah, I did see some chat in regards to OVR, which is basically a new augmented reality crypto game. I actually had heard of OVR, but I've not had a lot of information on it. Masked Mage YT says you can earn chests and get OVR if you play it right now while chests are abundant, which sounds like an excellent time. I think that like it's really important for people who are trying to leverage the collectibles in whatever way, shape, or form to kind of get in on these projects early. And someone asked at the beginning of the show, why are you here? That's exactly why. You're getting information ahead of everyone else, and if you're first to these experiences, then you are positioning yourself best to profit from them. And whether that's in a first to be able to get these cool collectibles that you'd like to hold and keep and cherish, or whether that's collectibles that you intend to hold value and then eventually turn around and flip for more than you invested in them. So I just think it's very mind-blowing to see that this culture shift into what we're doing here on a daily.
Amazing, man. I mean, to see Novogratz sitting down with Gary V. And so basically, guys, what's happening here, and you can see it via this tweet, did Gary V just say that he looks at NBA Top Shot every day? They basically name drop So Rare and NBA Top Shot, Novogratz does, as well as Gary V. And then Gary V in the middle of Novogratz talking here, again, we don't have the audio, but basically they're talking about digital collectibles. They're talking about, collecting via NFTs. And Gary V in the middle of Novogratz talking says, I look at NBA Top Shot every day. And it's just like, what? Like, dude, a year ago, you couldn't tap someone on the shoulder and try to get them to understand what NFTs, let alone 2 or 3 years ago for us that have been around for a long time. Amazing growth in just the past 2 months. And Ronan, it's the year of what?
The NFT, baby.
Awesome.
The NFT. I've been saying it, and it's amazing to see this dude because, like I said, like I've been trying to get Gary on the NFTs for months, and it's glad. Like I'm super hyped to see him and so many people of influence being able to come into the space, and they're asking the right types of questions, which is actually really kind of cool. Like I know that we mentioned this earlier, where it was like I had that conversation with like MD Hammer, right? But like he's asking real questions, and he's really trying to understand it and how it can help him connect to like his community and his fans. So I really think it's excellent that Gary has given this a little bit of attention.
Absolutely. I think that we got to give a quick shout out to Lindsay Lohan as well, doing a great job getting NFTs into the space. Ronan hates
so
me
our
so
next
much.
our next story was the Beeple news. Beeple is being Beeple has worked out a partnership basically with Christie's and Maker's Place, and what they are doing is Christie's, the oldest auction house in the world, is auctioning off their first fully digital piece of art. And if for anyone who thinks that we need validation, in my opinion, we don't need outside validation. This space is growing without it. But if you feel like we need validation, I'm not really sure if you can find anything more validating than having the oldest auction house in the world hold an auction for a piece of digital art, right? So I think that this is it. We are over the hump of like, how do we get people to pay attention? Now we really need to be thinking about like, how do we make these experiences worth the attention? Because we're getting a lot of it, and the user experience is still a little bit clunky.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point in Clubhouse earlier when I was listening to you kind of break down to relatively new individuals what we need to be doing in the NFT space right now. And what we need to be doing is make sure that we're doing it, we're bringing this industry and the NFT space right. How can I say this? We need to be doing this the right way, not just, hey, the next blow up, the next piece that sells for $1 million. There's going to be a lot of people as this industry kind of blows up that just want to be here for the money. And it seems like Beeple, and it seems like guys like RAC, it seems like guys like Blau, they're here for the right reasons. But you're going to see a lot of people move into the space that are here just to kind of take advantage of what's happening with the industry kind of just blowing up market cap wise. So that's one of the biggest things I see going forward, man. It's not, we kind of have the eyes. Now it's making sure that we do this sustainably and making sure that we kind of do what we can to keep us on the right path.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I couldn't have said it any better. Like, it really is a situation of like now we need to button it up, right? So,
Absolutely.
but yep. So that's Beeple is the first digital art being auctioned by Christie's.
Awesome. All right, I've got the next piece of news. This comes from Yacht, and shout out to Yatsu. He gave us a shout out multiple times, and we've worked with the guys over at Animoca Brands. Yacht is probably what I say is the NFT guru, although that's going to be challenged here as NFTs continue to blow up. But Yacht does an amazing job. We've interviewed him multiple times. He does a really good job of breaking down things that normal people can't break down succinctly, essentially. So he breaks down the really complex into very digestible kind of information there. So what he's talking about here is Animoca essentially running out a cryptocurrency that backs 2 of their free-to-play games. So you're only going to be able to actually earn this cryptocurrency via playing the game. But the main portion that I want to get to, and again, here it is, Crazy Defense Heroes is the main one that they're focusing on. The main thing I want to talk about here, and I can bring up this story. The main thing I want to talk about is the free-to-play aspect and how that affects game economies. And I'm only going to touch on it really quickly, right? It talks about this in the game, but essentially what you have when you play a free-to-play game is unlimited inflation. You get a lot of the money printer go burr, right? You get the gold goes burr. There's an example kind of that is laid out here by Yacht, and this comes from himself, his own blog. For example, in a free-play game, when you're farming, quote unquote, you kill 10 rats and are rewarded with gold and a level 1 potion that the game generates out of nothing as needed. Every time someone completes the objective, more gold and more potions are automatically added to the game, effectively without limit. The value of gold and level 1 potions will therefore decrease over time as these virtual assets become more abundant, less scarce. So what he's basically breaking down here is the transition from free-to-play to play-to-earn, and essentially limiting the amount of supplies in a game so that the game is focused more on driving value to the assets. There's another quote here that I really want to get you guys, and this is the importance of this cannot be understated. What gaming is going to do, and we haven't seen it because there's not a lot of games out there that are employing a blockchain, and Animoca is doing a great job. What all this means is that free-to-play gaming and blockchain gaming approach virtual economies in fundamentally different ways. Free-to-play games are designed to be inflationary in order to generate revenue at the expense of a game's virtual assets and their scarcity. Blockchain games, conversely, typically seek to generate value for the virtual assets and their scarcity. And that's a great Yacht quote. It really sums up everything I'm kind of talking about with him. You can't say it any better way than there. Blockchain games exist for the assets, whereas free-to-play games exist mainly for the company, right? Mainly for the game itself. So blockchain gaming is really turning the attention to virtual assets and rewarding individuals that play those games. So not to get too far down the rabbit hole, they are releasing this first Crazy Defense Heroes as well as Crazy Kings on iOS and Android. And there's going to be some utility that is related to this crypto currency here. Governance, so you'll be able to, governance is another kind of rabbit hole conversation that we're not going to get into here. But there's definitely some aspects of that are interesting where you can kind of have a say in what goes on with the different apps. You're going to be able to buy some of the NFTs in game with the currency, NFT minting, tournament entry fees, prizes. So there's not details on when this crypto is coming out, but we will see this come from Animoca Brands here shortly. So they're going to kind of break out the information as it's related to the project here over the next, I would say, couple months. So what do you think, Ronan?
I think that this is exactly what we want to see. I think that this is how blockchain technology changes the game, quite literally, right? It gives us the ability to create true, economies. It gives us the ability to create true scarcity as well as real ownership. So I think that, this is the natural progression of what we're doing. And I said it, we've said it, and the conversation has been often like it's just a matter of rolling it out to a wider audience in a way that people don't know they're interacting with the blockchain. That's a huge friction point. It's something that we're trying to get over, and it seems like Flow is really capturing that aspect really well. So kudos to them for that project for sure.
Absolutely, man. We got 83 people in the house. Shout out to Yacht again. Shout out to Animoca Brands and what they're doing with F1 Delta, with Sandbox, all of these different projects moving the space forward. So definitely a great shout out to them. All right, 86 in the house. We're moving on to the last piece of hot topics that we have for the day, and then we're going to get to the big boy, 2 Wax, 2 Street Fighter. So the last piece of news is, Ronan, I'm going to give you a quick kind of rumble for someone who is literally probably winning more than anyone in the space right now. So what do we got?
Absolutely, yeah. So at the end of this hot topics, we've got basically the Fewocious $1 million Nifty sale, and this was essentially a collaboration between Few and 2 Feet. They had some really dope NFTs. They had a couple of auctions, and then people who bought into one of the NFTs basically were also getting a ticket for a one-of-one hand-painted guitar that Few actually literally went in and did by hand, piece by piece, and it was pretty cool. He shared some videos on his Twitter of him actually sitting and doing that and whatnot, and so it was really cool to be able to have that conversation and talk with him about that, because he hit up Twitter and was like, hey, I want to spin up a clubhouse to talk, and we go in there and he just found out, I mean, you're a millionaire, right? So that's amazing. And I think that, as an 18-year-old kid, this is life. This is grabbing life, you know what I mean? And running with it and taking an opportunity that, that we all kind of have, I feel like, and running with it and taking advantage of it. So big ups if you, that's my dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to take you guys into the actual videos that he was producing, but I mean, Few's Twitter is on nonstop, so I'm sure I have to scroll down 20,000 times. But literally, Nifty Gateway, Fewocious, great combo, peanut butter and jelly at this point, man. They're doing 1.5, I think, in total sales, and they act and like you said, Nifty, just going. Today they're just here, we're rolling out our next drop. Nothing happened yesterday. They didn't just sell a 1.5 or 1.1 or something in total sales with Fewocious here. But shout out to Fewocious, gonna have an amazing career. Couldn't have happened to a really better person. So awesome to see, and I love the energy per usual.
Yeah, and before we crack into the kind of main segment of what we're talking about, I did see a comment that I wanted to touch on real quick, which is basically what are our thoughts about Splinterlands coming to Wax and the fact that they're doing some land sales and cards. I think it's excellent. I think it's excellent for the space. Actually, the founder of the Splinterlands company was in that clubhouse this morning and chatting about Splinterlands and the way that they are working out this kind of custodial program to be able to take NFTs from the hive, right, like that
Mm.
they're currently on, and make them into like the wax. So it's a really cool project. I think those guys are doing big things. Obviously, they're changing the game, and I'd love to see it. So that's kind of how I feel about Splinterlands, man.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Wax is on the
Hit
move.
some of these more. Hit some of these comments while I get us started for this Street Fighter drop here. We got about 76. You guys have been absolutely killing the chat. I think there were some comments on land sales. Those have definitely seen. I think there was some data put out by Steinwald and some others that were mentioning why land sales are so important or so popular, I guess, among investors. There's definitely an aspect there that actually, let's not get into that fully, but land sales, that's something that people want to be. You see that in Axie. You see that now, apparently, in Splinterlands. You see CryptoBox, all these different things. People want to own real estate, whether that be virtual or physical or what have you. They want to be invested in that area, right, of wherever they are, whether that be, again, digital. That we're moving more towards digital, so why not own digital land in the platforms that you kind of are existing within? So it's an interesting piece why land sales are doing so much.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely like I think it's because people can identify the fact that this is the future, and I think
Mm,
that the point made in chat was Mass Mage was talking to the fact that you've got these like land parcels, but like what do you do with them? Like people aren't gamifying them enough. And I would say to that, you want to look at games like Axie Infinity, right, that have land and actually have a way of integrating that land ownership into the game mechanics.
mm.
You also have the sandbox, right? Like we own land in sandbox, we're building on that land, and that experience is going to be more of a social experience, but it is going to have gamified aspects of it. So it's coming. We're very much at the beginning of this thing where we've got like this like kind of foundation laid, and now we're trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, I'm going to read directly from some of the comments here. Decentraland has tried to add games, but most of them are just mana farms where they are trying to get users to buy mana. That's not fun games. It's more of a pyramid, in my opinion. Llama saying lots of economics, but games boring, drying paint. And then John Distick is saying Axie Land will reward shitloads in dividends. That's why. Yeah, there's interesting game mechanics. I think they work with Delphi Digital to work through their tokenomics there. If it's paying out dividends, there's a reason that it's doing pretty well, obviously. So crypto voxels is also an interesting point. We've talked on kind of owning land in that spot, but there hasn't been like a constant kind of living metaverse up to this point. I think that's something that Buffalo always says, something that a lot of the lads are kind of pointing out is that unless there's an event going on, these aren't like consistent living metaverses. I don't know if you have any
Right.
thoughts on that, but I think that would do much more for the immersion, but it's going to take time. You can't just get a Ready Player One overnight. But I think the land sales are just an interesting piece, man.
Yeah, I think like right now the technology like really has to like play catch up, and that was kind of the conversation we were having. Is like part of a way not to mess this up is to like start figuring out the scaling issue like now, right? Like
Mhm.
Decentraland can't deal with a Fortnite crowd, right? Like although like that is something that I'm sure they would like to get
Mm.
to, is to be able to have people in their world persistently where they're spending time and they're making money and they're playing games and they're doing all these different things, right? Like your metaverse is that ability to kind of transcend the physical and move to the digital existence, right? So to me, it's just one of those things where we gotta just slow it down. Let's
Mhm.
pump the brakes and start making sure the foundation is right. Because like hey, we know a sale that's just going through a website crashes. Can you imagine trying to bring in that many people into the metaverse for an experience, right? Like
Mm.
like the Fortnite concerts. Like you can't do that on in Decentraland right now. And now eventually, hopefully, right? Like hopefully you can have those in-game experiences that bring people into the world, especially at any given time, because they don't know what can happen in the metaverse, right? So I think that's an important aspect people need to continue to like kind of remind themselves is like we're still very early on, and we need to be building like a firm foundation
Mm.
before we start onboarding the masses.
A lot of more great comments that are coming through. I think I definitely agree with you, Ronan, and I would say like from a technology perspective, it's definitely like more of an if or more of a when, not if, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely going to happen. It's the same kind of timeline that we're on in NFTs. We didn't have all of the things that we have now with NFTs, and that leads to more adoption when you, for whatever reason, hit an inflection point like we hit in December. We're here now. We have some of the tech. It's a little bit more usable. I think Crypto Muscle's talking on something about gas fees, right? The gas fees are absorbent, but it's a little bit different than what happened in 2017. If you were around in 2017, CryptoKitties literally ground Ethereum to a halt. It wasn't like, oh, it's more expensive. It's no, I can't get a transaction through. And that is the difference between 2017 and now. Now it's super expensive. Back then, the technology wasn't there to allow for a lot of the transactions that people wanted to do. That's just the simple kind of breakdown there. So that's going to happen in 2024, right? 3 years from now, what is the technology going to allow us to do? By then, hopefully, fingers crossed, Ethereum 2.0, but we see other layer 2s. We see other layer 1s like Flow coming in here. There's a lot of things going on Wax. We're about to speak on that for a second, but just a lot of technological improvements that are going to happen in the next couple of years to allow for adoption that's not going to be able to happen on Ethereum because nobody wants to do that shit right now, right?
Exactly. And that's what we're building towards. So
yeah, Llama's bringing up some good points, although there's some mugging of someone's tokens because imagine a real life Grand Theft Auto happening. So we have, those games are going to incorporate a different ownership in their settings, right? We've seen it in Minecraft already happen with third-party applications. People want to. The point that I was trying to get at earlier, while I was kind of messing around with a lot of things and couldn't get to, was that there's something primal about owning land, whether it's physical or digital. People want to have this experience of like, this is my area, and that's why you see digital land sales do so well. But it will be interesting to see it move in. Matic's going to be a good layer 2. Yeah, we're seeing it. Polka dots, all of that good stuff. So 84 you guys in the house. We're going to get to our last piece here, the last piece of the episode, which is the best part of the episode, the Wax and Street Fighter sale that's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to do some cool things here. I'm going to show some videos. I'm going to do some interesting things, but bear with me. I am not Buffalo, so we'll see what happens here when I bring it up live.
Every collectible is certified authentic, unique, and can never be duplicated or altered thanks to Wax's secure block.
Sorry, guys.
Street Fighter is coming to the Wax blockchain with a new digital trading card game. Start by opening limited edition packs of build cards. Combine 2 matching build cards to unlock a new card with one of 6 rarities. Continue upgrading that card's power score by adding additional build cards. Reach a power score of 5 and unlock a special class card with one of 6 rarities. Build cards are burned when used, which increases card scarcity and value. Every collectible is certified authentic, unique, and can never be duplicated or altered thanks to Wax's secure blockchain technology. So you can enjoy an authentic card collecting and trading experience from any smartphone or computer. Trade cards instantly with anyone, anywhere in the world. Collect them all. Visit streetfighter.cards for details.
Absolutely great explainer video there, put together by the Wax team. They're working with Capcom again to launch their Street Fighter tomorrow. It's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, so do that with what you may. I believe that's 5 p.m. UTC. We're trying to get better with UTC here, but we will be going live on this channel 11:30 a.m. We're going to kind of get in here before the actual sale goes live. Love sale day episodes, love the energy. But we're going to take you through some of the details here. We've got some other videos that we can go through as well that kind of break down what's happening in tomorrow's sales. There's some interesting mechanics as well that go along with what they're launching. They're doing a couple different things. Maybe, I guess, unique is probably the best word. So they definitely have some unique mechanics that we can touch on, Ronan.
Absolutely. So I don't know, do you want to start? I can break down kind of the way the packs work and how that sale is going to go down.
Okay.
So for anyone, if this is your first kind of time partaking in one of these sales, essentially what you want to do is you want to make sure you have your Wax Cloud wallet set up. You can set that up in 3 clicks. It takes integration with Twitter, Facebook, any of those platforms. And then you're going to want to be ready. You're going to want to have Wax in your account before the sale goes live at noon tomorrow. And then at noon tomorrow, you are going to go to the website, which is Street Fighter. Going to be the packs to drop. You know, some things that are important about this pack drop are the fact that it is going to go for 24 hours. So, you know, you do have the kind of ability to pick up these packs kind of over time. That 24-hour window is unlimited. And, you know, the first time you hear that, you think, oh my gosh, like that does horrible things for scarcity, right? Well, that's where the build mechanic comes in. So the way that this works is you're going to buy a pack. These packs are going to come with these build cards in them. Okay, so these build cards, that's all you're able to get, have to be combined to actually create a new card that has a random rarity, and that random rarity will start at a power score of 1, right? So you can get a rarity from 1 to 6 all the way up to, you know, ultra rare. And then when you combine those 5 build cards, you get a final card. That final card will start at a power score of 1. To increase your power score of a card, you have to use the final card plus another build card to now level that card up. Okay, so you level it up from level 1 to level 5. Once you hit level 5, it unlocks a class card. And now the class cards are essentially you know, the top tier cards, and they also have their own rarities. Now what's really cool about this is that when you consider the burn mechanic, that is being put in, and it's actually going to help with the scarcity, right? Because people are going to start burning all of these build cards so they can create the next tier, and then they have to use build cards to create more powerful tiers. And every time you get a card in this process, you have a chance at getting another low mint, right? Depending on if anyone else has made that build before you. So there's a lot of opportunity to jump in, hit this sale right off the bat, throw in a little bit of cash, right? So you get these like this stack of build cards, and then just start melding them and just start putting them together as quickly as you can. So now you can start trying to hit mint cards that are lower number. Now, what's another important fact to hit is the fact that the final cards don't have to be burned to get that final class card. You just have to level them to level 5 to be there. So some really cool mechanics. I think that this is one of those things where it's approaching it from a different aspect. The drop mechanic is a little bit different than we've seen before with the 24-hour window, and then, you know, just giving us the ability to kind of not only incentivize us to, you know, build these more powerful cards, right? But also incentivize us to go out and be part of the community, in that when you buy your packs, you want to have 5 of the same card. So if you've got 1 of a card, it's kind of probably not going to be useful if you got 4 of another. Get into the community and trade that card, make your 5, do your burn, and get your next build, right? So I think it's really cool. I think it's a cool way of getting the community engaged. Hopefully Telegram, Discord, all these things kind of pop off for a good, you know, bit for the next couple of days after the launch, because I think that's exactly what we're going to be looking for. And then you consider the fact that you're burning these build cards, right? And now like those are becoming more rare as people burn more and more of them. So lots of really cool layers to this experience. I think that this is one of the first drops by Wax themselves proper that I think really takes advantage of the technology that we're using here, and applies it to both the sale, the pack drop, the rarities, and the community.
Yeah, that was a great kind of overview there, Rona. I appreciate that. So we've got a couple videos. Obviously, the video that we showed you guys there where the actual crafting was happening, that wasn't us. That was a video actually sent by Wax. So we appreciate you guys sending over how that interface will look. The other portion of this that's interesting is they don't have the actual sale happening and then the card pack opening. It's going to be 24 hours later, right? So they're going to run the sale for 24 hours. There are some other interesting discussions to be had around kind of that length and having an unlimited supply cap. But after that 24 hours, then at that point, the actual cards will be able to open. And you're right, there is an element here, and I love seeing the innovation play out in real time. That's my biggest thing. I think Wax was doing this with they attempted this with Shatner, I think. Correct? Remember the Shatner had like shards that you could then put together and then create other cards. But it will be interesting to see how this works with Capcom, with Street Fighter. Again, awesome to see these big brands in NFTs. We talked with Jassy, a member of their team, and they said they got a lot coming in Q2, Q3, Q4, basically in 2021. So really awesome.
I think this is a perfect example of something that I speak to a lot when I'm like having these conversations, which is like, figure out how this technology enhances the experience and how does it fit your brand, right? Like doing the meld thing for Shatner maybe didn't feel right. Maybe that's why people didn't like really jump into it, because that crowd isn't the crowd that likes to gamify their experience. They just wanted their collectibles. They wanted to come in, open a pack, and hopefully nail a number one. Or like these Shatner like fans that came into that sale, like I watched those Facebook groups, and they were like, they didn't get it. They didn't understand the burning. They didn't understand why you had pieces of something else. So it just didn't click with the right community. But then you apply it to an IP like Street Fighter, you gamify it, you give us the rarity, the scarcity, the ownership, and now I think you have a real recipe for success in this space.
Yeah, I'm going to play this video while you're talking, Ronan. I think it's important to kind of understand, again, the mechanics that are going on. Great point, by the way. The Shatner really didn't seem to fit well with the actual like burning and collecting. Basically, you just want to open your packs and see what cool collectibles you get. So
exactly. And when you look at this experience, it feels like the natural progression of card collecting, right? Like in a digital world where you can do these really cool things like burning base cards to create more powerful cards and leveling those cards up. We're working with some really cool technology, right? Like I think that it cannot be understated that like this is a reality we live in already. Like we're very digital beings at this point. So having true ownership over our digital assets is important, and being able to gamify these experiences just makes sense. And it makes it fun. It makes it engaging. It makes people care about the investment that they're placing, and it makes them care a little bit more about the IP, right? Because now they're invested in it in a totally different way.
Yeah, we're breaking this down, guys. We've got the Street Fighter sale tomorrow. 24 hours. A lot of people are asking the question: open or hold? There's discussion to be had there about a lot of the pack sales and how packs have held their value and then some. Right? We see a lot. Some of these drops have like 2, 3, 4, 5x from the actual like sale of the actual pack. So the fact that they're opening this and uncapping the actual amount is another mechanic that we have to see play out in real time. That's something to keep watch of, as well as does the mechanics that they're setting up, does that increase the actual secondary market? Because if you have a secondary market where it's saying, oh, in order to kind of rush through to get the mint number one of the most rare collectible here, I need to go out to the secondary market and actually buy up these cards. So is that going? I think we saw it in Shatner initially. So I think that might be actually played out as an example already. The secondary market for Shatner initially for the different shards was hot, but then it died off. So we'll see what happens with Street Fighter here. Again, I like the point that you made that there actually is a lot more synergy from a game mechanic perspective where somebody wants to do that with Street Fighter.
Absolutely. And I think that like the question of whether to hold or open, right, like is a good one. And I think that everybody kind of approaches it differently. For me, typically when I'm buying into these sales, what I'm doing is I'm kind of thinking in both ways. I'm thinking I'm going to open some packs. I'm going to see if I can crack them, get some mint ones, maybe do some building and get some mint ones in that way. But at the same time, I'm going to hold some packs because I know that inherently packs are always going to go up in value. And for the most part, I mean, I think that Shatner probably sells for underneath value, right? Because there was just no interest. I don't think you have that problem with Street Fighter, although I do think that the 24-hour open window does create a different dynamic. So in a sense of like, a Bitcoin origin where I would say you want to get as many as you possibly can and, definitely sell some of those packs because they're guaranteed to get you 5, 6, 7, 8 times what you pay for them the day of. That's one strategy, but it's different for that way of a drop. So,
yeah. The one thing I was looking at, and there's some good comments we'll get to here related to this next comment, but I haven't seen all the characters that are going to be released in this series. I don't know if anybody could drop that in Lad City, and then maybe Ronan can get it to me. But we need a link to see maybe all of the characters. Again, we see a lot of the the biggest ones here. We got Chun-Li, Ryu, Blanca's here. A lot of people were asking kind of what the actual like full roster was that they were releasing here. Apparently there's a Street Fighter named Q. Now I'm not the biggest Street Fighter enthusiast here, but apparently there's a Street Fighter named Q. I don't think he's going to be in this drop, but there's definitely a lot of interest in certain characters. Again, there's a lot of things that happen in the secondary markets, although I guess it's already kind of built in because you kind of have this idea of what's going to be popular, right? Because there's different like emergent properties that say, oh, in the Shatner sale, for example, there was like a moon in one of them that made it more rare. But for the most part, I think people understand, okay, this is probably the most popular character in Street Fighter, so therefore the Ryus are going to go for the most, but we'll see.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see like what the full roster is going to be. I think it was really a really good question in chat was XP said, will there be any future utility? I think that's an excellent question. I think it's a question that I'd love to pose to them when we have them on tomorrow, because I don't know the answer up front, but I do want to kind of stress the fact that utility can be built down the line, right? Like you've got these NFTs, you can use them now in kind of like that straight up collectible experience, but then down the road you can create the opportunity to maybe battle these power cards together and create almost a versus situation where you can battle your friends. I mean, someone did that with TopShot, right? Swish. They're taking an asset that's out there and they built upon it and they created a fantasy league. So I could imagine that if somebody really wanted to have a lot of fun with this project, they could figure out a cool way of putting in points and creating this cool little randomizer system where you upload your NFTs, 3 people on a team or something, and it takes some of these attributes into consideration, and next thing it tells you who won the match. And now, like, maybe that's a way they build in the ability to power up your NFTs in the future once like all these build cards are gone, right? Like imagine in a year from now, there's probably not going to be a ton of build cards, and now all of a sudden they say, okay, we're going to open up this new thing. You can now battle each other, and if you battle, then you can choose one of those people in the battle to be leveled up or something. So the utility, I think, is an excellent question. I'd love to ask, and I hope that we hear that they are looking to do a lot of cool shit like that, because that's what we need to see. That's how we're going to change the views on what we're doing.
I think people that are coming into the NFT space in a year or 2 years from now are going to have a lot of thanking to do to people that are like us that are here now. And I don't mean to pat ourselves on the back, but what we're doing when we participate in these sales is bootstrapping this idea that a big brand can come in here and have success. Right? Because if they have success, that's where they go out and say, oh, they want us to do something with these collectible cards. Yeah, we'll build that in. We just sold $500,000, $1 million worth of these sales. Now we can go out and do something. That's kind of what you're saying, which is we can build this in.
Absolutely.
And I do like the idea there, although we haven't seen anything yet, I think, on the Wax blockchain of composability. If you have a third party person, we were talking about this on Clubhouse earlier, if you have a third party that wants to come in and build an application that exists to kind of have a game where you can bring your Street Fighter cards in, you could do it because it's Web3, right? Or at least, in theory, you could do that. That's what you're seeing on Flow with Swish. You take those NBA cards that you got and you can put them into a fantasy game, that third party app. So awesome stuff. We got 117 in the house. I want to point out, Scott actually just commented. He said, by the way, it's credit and debit card only. So that's a good portion to kind of put out. We're going to have to do some interesting things. I guess this is a good time to point out that we've had a lot of lads. We got a lot of NFT enthusiast lads that are in the house right now that are in Lad City. If we band together, what we want to do in the future is be able to say, hey, Wax, hey, Flow, hey, these different projects, look at what the lads are doing together. And therefore we can use that as leverage to maybe get more distribution to the lads, get allocations in different projects. So expect updates in Lad City. I know Fishy and Llama are both working on this project that we want to release to you guys, where we band together and see, hey, the lads are spending a certain amount. Let's see what we can do to leverage our community that we've created, this wonderful kind of network that we have, built together. If we can leverage that further, that's just better off for us. It's better off for the project. It's a great win-win.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here. And I think that anybody who might be new and just joining us for the first time, welcome to the show. And this is exactly what we do every week, week in and week out, is we talk about what's going on in the space, how people are changing the game every single week, week in and week out. And yeah, like I think that this is the type of conversation that leads to innovation. So I'm so glad that we have this space. I'm so glad that we have space like Clubhouse where I almost sound like a preacher sometimes, right? Like the word of the NFT is able to reach the masses, and it's really a cool time. And so to see Wax stepping it up and saying, look, we're going to bring a new experience to our collectible cards, and we hope you like it. Like I commend them, and that's not just because they are sponsored, because I want to make that very clear. Like I have been very clear about how I feel about Wax in the past, and I do want you guys to know that I really feel like this project is a huge step forward for Wax, and I think that it's going to be a huge boon to that economy and to that community. Now it's just a matter of let's get through the sale, let's get through the pack opening, and then let's continue to support that Wax and Street Fighter partnership by showing that project some love.
Yeah, and again, Wax is sponsoring this episode. We're working with them on this launch. Shout out to them, by the way. It looks like they're giving us the old shout out on Twitter here, saying that NFT Live is covering tomorrow's launch of Street Fighter. So shout out to, and giving us the retweet. Look at NFT Live here on the Wax IO Twitter. I want to point out too, Ronan, I want to get your thoughts here because Loadmaster's coming through and saying Lindsay Lohan holders get free packs. So I'm going to put you live here. What do you think about that, Ronan?
I heard Loadmaster. Did Loadmaster said something in chat?
Oh,
so
we're having too much fun.
Wax. Big shout out to Wax for the opportunity to kind of do this, right? To kind of be sponsored and to chit chat about Street Fighter, to have the opportunity to do a sales day episode that we're going to really enjoy, and I think the community will enjoy, including an interview with a member of that team. So I think. Let's go, man. This is excellent, and I feel the energy. I think people are really hyped about this IP coming to the Wax blockchain, and hey, seven more people in chat, and we will hit an all-time high. We got 118. Thank you guys so much. This is the last push before we have to call it a day, because it is getting to that point where I'm gonna have to hop.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us and for this excellent conversation, man. Last thoughts about how you feel about Street Fighter going into tomorrow.
It's a great IP, and Wax for landing it. That's an awesome job to them. I don't see how this can go, in a wrong direction, to be honest. I think this is a pretty strong IP that's going to hold its own when it comes to the sale. It will be interesting. They've uncapped the actual supply of packs, so we will see what it actually gets to. But if they had capped and set that in like some kind of, at least in some normal, relative supply, it would have sold out. And I think we know this. There's kind of a rabid fan base. We are running a giveaway as well on our Twitter that we will be announcing during sale day tomorrow. And basically, it was a like, it was a retweet, and it was a comment on what Street Fighter you're looking to get tomorrow, and that absolutely blew up. So if I can go down to it, what do we got here? 142 comments, and that was only on one of them. So we see a bunch of people. I mean, it's going to be rabid tomorrow.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and like I said earlier in the episode, great to see them innovating with these different mechanics and playing out in real time. Awesome stuff. We are at 123. Ronan, do you have to go? You have to leave right now. Is that the cap?
We got like a 5-minute check. I do want to address I got a question for you from chat, and I'd love to hear you riff on it real quick before we kind of let's give them the opportunity to get 5 or 6 people in here real quick to get those extra lads. So Nick Costa asks, what IPs would you want to see come to Wax the most? And I'll go first, and then that gives you a second to kind of think about it, because I already know. I want to see Star Wars. Star Wars, they Tops, who they are working with in some of these projects, projects has access to Star Wars Card Trader. You know, they do the card trading experience already on mobile, and I think that if we can see an IP like that come to the space in the right way, you know, then that is a home run. And it's you know, in my opinion, it's pretty likely when you look at everybody who's on the Wax Council, and just kind of the trajectory we're taking in this space. So I would say my number one is Star Wars. I would absolutely Star Wars or Marvel. I think like you get either of those IPs on, it is going to be totally different space.
I'm interested in the outside of like maybe Magic the Gathering, which I think would be a really interesting play. I don't think we see Gods Unchained and we see a couple of these different card games attempt to do it, but if we see a really awesome card game come out, that would be amazing. Maybe that's via Wax Blockchain, because again, it's go ahead. What were you gonna say?
What about the ultimate, like the Big Daddy? What if Wax announced like today that they were partnering with fucking Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon. Yeah, that.
It's the biggest
Jesus.
property in the world.
I can't see Pokemon not going the route of creating creating their own little ecosystem, but maybe they want somebody to do that for them.
Yeah.
So I guess my answer would be probably something in gaming. I'm definitely interested in, like, I'm looking at the Wax Advisory Council here to see like who exactly has already kind of committed to this. It looks like Marvel, Microsoft, Google, Atari, and some others. It would be awesome to see like games that come from Microsoft, right? Where you've got like Xbox potentially being able to say like Halo or some like big, you know, gaming IPs, I think are something that sits at an intersection that would be interesting to see, because maybe then you do have an element where you could put that into a game, and that's the utility that you were talking about. So really interested in gaming assets. We hit 129, we hit all-time highs. Ronan's got to get out of here. We are loving all the engagement today, man. Nintendo, there's one. Man, Nintendo would be amazing. I think that's a great fit. We talked about Japan multiple times as well. So a lot of interesting things going on in NFTs right now. We appreciate you stopping by this episode for hitting all-time highs, Ronan. 129, man. Do you remember the 30-person days?
Dude, do you remember like the first time I came on? Like it was like we had like it was like 20 something people for like the whole time, and we were so hype about the fact that like we had that, right? Like we're very proud of our every week, you know, the normal 70, 80, 90 people that we have who come in, and some, you know, a lot of times we're hitting 100. But like when you hit all-time highs, it just brings a different energy, and thank you guys so much for that, like for liking, for retweeting, for sharing the good word of NFT Live. Big shout out to our sponsors today, Wax and Street Fighter, for the cool you know, assets that we were able to run during today's episode and all this information. We're really looking forward to tomorrow's sales episode. And yeah, I don't know if I can say much outside of that, man. Thank you guys so very much for, you know, spending some time with us today.
Absolutely, man. And I can't wait for this sale day episode tomorrow. We touched on a lot of comments. We hit all-time highs. A lot of people are talking about the different NFT projects they want, or different projects they want to see, different IPs. They're really engaging with that question, Ronan. So definitely a good one. Lads, you did amazing today. All-time highs. I'm going to drop the link, the rewards link, because it's going to be fat. I need that rewards link to be in Lad City in main chat. So I'm going to be there right after the episode, dropping the all-time high rewards link. You guys need to get in there. Get in our Discord. If you want to know what the hell we're talking about even, get into the Discord that's in the description, and we will explain what the hell lads are. But holy crap, man. I am ready to roll.
Yeah, dude. So with that, I think we can say goodbye, and that's yeah, man, that's a wrap. Our vibe, our tribe.
Thank you, lads.